This is like a name dropping stupid story, but I met.
You got one in. You got Ariana.
I met Ariana. No.
This is not a test.
Then we're all degenerates.
Jared, you were the first comedy show I ever saw in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was it?
Gotham.
Well, that's cool.
A while ago.
Nice.
What was it, like a random, like you were just seeing a show
Yeah. Back when.
before you started stand up?
Yeah, I was like 18, I think.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. Who were you there with?
My ex.
Ooh, a girl or a guy?
Girl.
Wow. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. She's bisexual,
I am.
biracial, bisexual baddie.
Yes.
So the
Right.
first comedy show you ever saw was Jared FREID. He's probably one of the first I've ever seen too.
Yeah.
That's how I met you.
I like to be everyone's first.
You're everyone's
Just
first.
go
You
around,
popped our cherries.
helping everyone get into the comedy world.
So you were the girl?
Yeah, I was a
Nice.
lesbian.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now I'm bi, but I was gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do these shows called Vinny and Friends, where I was like trying little stand-up things, and my agent would book me. And I think I was in what was that place? Westchester or whatever, Levity Live.
Levity
What the fuck
Live.
is that
I mean,
place?
what I liked about you doing Vinny and Friends was like it was an admission that like I don't want to just go up and do the whole show.
Mm.
Absolutely not. I
anytime
couldn't.
you see and Friends on a show, that means the comedian is out of material.
Oh,
It really doesn't have much to do. So they want to fill up the show. And I do think that's like respectful.
Mm.
You know, like it's like, oh, okay. Like I want to go up and do 10, 15. I know people are going to come for me no matter what.
yeah.
They want to just be in the room with me at a minimum.
Okay.
You know, laughing is like a bonus, is you know, if someone's famous.
Mhm.
And then you go, well, I want to do a good job with my 15 minutes because it's, you know, it's more direct. I think it's like a good.
So like other like real comics do it.
You always see and Friends. It's
to
someone
work
with
on
material.
shit, or yeah, just they're working on shit.
Yeah, or they like just taped a special.
Oh, okay.
You know, the live show after the special is the Anne Friends show.
Okay. My end friends was like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
My friends know what I'm doing.
Did you do stand up or did you just host?
I think I was hosting it, and now that I've been doing stand up more, that was probably the worst thing. I don't like hosting.
I thought it was good for you. I thought I thought it was
wasn't bad.
egoless. I actually like commended you for it.
No,
Like,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, because you could have just gone up and been like, I'll just tell my stories.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh,
you were kinda
storytelling.
right? And you were like
Yeah,
giving
yeah.
back to stand-ups too. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you know,
that was the best. Meeting
when I was
all
on
the
the show,
stand-ups.
right? Like it wasn't like I
You were
had
on his
people.
shows?
Yeah, so I would go
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
show.
God.
So like,
That's how I met him, and I was like, this guy's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, be my friend.
right? And but they were fun shows. Like I just want to do shows. That
Yeah.
are fun, you know.
Yeah. Now looking back though, I've been doing it more like grinding, actually going up, not just the end friends thing. I've been going up
Right.
at like real comedy clubs. People don't really know who I am, and developing.
Mhm.
And now I want to do that again, but I think I'll have an actual set instead
I
of
think
just
we'll-
like your next comedian is, and then try a joke.
Well, I
you
think
know?
like you want to get used to being on stage. So like hosting is a really good.
those
way
are
to do
big
that.
room, like the fucking Levity Live or whatever.
That's
that was a
huge.
fucking
I mean,
huge
like-
room. Like my first comedy show. I'm like, oh, this is comedy. Like, you know, like, it's not like the little grungy basement.
How much?
How much what?
people?
What can it fit? A couple hundred, like 400
That
or
one's like
something?
it's a big club, so it's over 300.
It's like a club in a
Sure.
mall.
Yeah, it's a fun club. I've always
Yeah.
had fun there, but like you can hit some 30 people shows and
Those-
30
that's
people
what I'm
in a
doing now.
400 seat room is like brutal.
Yeah, but
You know,
30
the
people in
atmosphere-
a 30 people room is
That's
cool.
great. That can be fun. Yeah, it's all it's all context. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Do you still do a lot of stand up? Because I know you're
every night.
Yeah, nice.
You know,
What do you like? Where do you do it every night?
The
like,
Cellar.
the Cellar, right?
Comedy Cellar, Gotham. I was back at Gotham the other night.
Mm.
I would go, I go anywhere, but I'm on the road a lot. I'm on the road right now. Like, I have a new hour that I taped a special December 2022.
Mm-hmm.
It came out on Netflix August 15th, 2023.
Amazing.
And then I was ready that weekend with a whole new hour. And the whole new hour is a 1 hour story about going to the beach with my family.
1 hour story.
1 hour
That's-
story
that's
about,
what you-
about going to the beach with my family. And it's all about like my relationship with my parents, body
awesome.
issues, like the millennial boomer relationship, which is kind of like weirdly financially tied. Like
Uh-huh.
we like kind of have to deal with our parents. So it's like, it's been cool because I tell people bring your parents. Like it's a fun show. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not like, I'm not a dirty comic, but I'm not a clean comic. I'm talking to the parents the way I would talk to my parents. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off, dad. You know, it's not, this isn't like.
Also, the ladies love you.
A lot of
Yes.
women come, which is fun. That's always good. And like, because I talk a lot about dating.
Wait, what beach?
The story that it started from was a 2-minute story that was Delray Beach in near Boca.
In Florida.
My parents live in Boca now, and we go to the beach all the time, and we all have body issues, and we all love food, and it's all we talk about. So it's like about that. And I was doing this 2-minute story before, and that's the thing, when you go on stage, like you have to go on stage. Like I was going on stage while I had the other material for the special, and I'm like, I would tell this 2-minute story and see people get sad. But I like telling it.
Right.
And I was like, I think there's something here. And that takes time. Like what you're trying to do, what you're saying, like takes reps. Like to be able to like tell a story the way you know it's there, but you know it ain't getting across. So the minute the special was taped, I was kind of like up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. Like there's no more crutches. Like all my old jokes from when I first started that would work and weren't really me anymore. They were done.
Yeah.
So it forced me, and I went and did this story.
Go deeper.
Went from 2 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes. Now it's an hour 10.
That's
and
awesome.
it's like, it's fun. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? Like when I was kind of chubby-ish when I was growing up.
Really?
Yeah, I was not like a skinny genetically kid. You know what I mean? But like, that made no sense. I was not a genetically skinny kid. I had like little boobs and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a little pudgy.
I don't think anyone liked their body. I don't know. I think very few people like loved their body growing up.
I didn't, but I just thought like when I was a kid, I'm like, this is my body, and that's my friend James's body, and he has abs somehow. Like he's like, just whatever. And I didn't think about it. I just took my shirt off and I was like, this is it, you know?
Right.
As I got older though, now, like if I have like the extra couple 5 pounds coming on and stuff like that, like I'm like, guys, I can't take my shirt off.
But when you
can't do it.
Still doing are you still doing the
Chippendales or
the
what?
Chippendales? No, but what was it called?
Keto?
The Keto Guido.
Yeah, like right. So
Are you still doing it?
I'm healthy. I don't do exactly ketosis, but I do like a low carb.
That's the
paleo
worst part about going on any diet.
What?
Is that because the worst part is that then people come up. It's if you're self-conscious about your body, which I am.
Same.
Someone will come up to you and go, "Are you still doing it?" And you're like, "Well, do I look like shit?"
You just did it to me.
And I just did it to you.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean it that way.
No, I know.
But I used to like eat peanut butter by a tablespoon. Like I was really like, trying to measuring, and people, "Where's the peanut butter?" And I'm like, "I'm a fat fuck. Shut the fuck up." You know, like it is like trying to be healthy is like vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, like because you're telling people, I don't like the vessel I'm in. I want it changed.
For sure.
And they get used to. I mean, so now
Being
they.
fat?
Well, no, like if they were used to you being fat, that's just what you look like, you know.
You
But
never look another way to them, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you get thin and in shape, and then you start to fall off a little bit, now you look different to
Well,
them.
when
They're like,
people-
"Oh, what's different about you?"
When
you
I
know?
gain weight, I get, getting jacked, man. And I'm like, no,
yeah.
I'm getting fat.
Yeah.
Like, I don't go to the idea at 39.
You're looking
I'm
a
going
little-
to the gym. I'm like with a stringer tank top trying to like bulk up. Like, no, my goals for fitness are to fit in a t-shirt well. That's all I want. I want to look good in a t-shirt in a picture. I don't even care if it looks good not in a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want to be in the I want the Instagram post to not make me go,
Oh, I
you
get
know.
it. It's all vanity. I wouldn't work out if it wasn't for like sexual attraction.
Right.
You know?
I mean, and when people say it's for anything else, you go, yeah, sure. I
Like, go on
just
a
don't believe
run,
them.
I don't know. But like to squat, you know.
Yeah. Like when I work out, I like when I to try to get jacked, I just get swollen and bigger.
Right.
And I'm like, let me just try to be thin, like, cause like on TV and in pictures and stuff like that. Cause no, even if I was ripped up, it's just like I don't like the feeling of like looking big.
Your face
you
is
know?
big too.
Everything gets a little like bigger, you know.
I'm sure when you went on, you know, when the Jersey Shore was like first starting up,
Yeah.
I noticed this with all reality shows.
Mhm.
They all come back to the reunion show
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
thin,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they go
It's
on the show.
drugs.
You see yourself.
It's the cocaine. No.
Well, that the drugs, the party, but you see yourself, and I know that from me. I see myself on camera. I'm like, that's not who I see in the mirror. Like, because when you look in the mirror, you pose yourself, you look at the right angle, you take a picture from up here. You know, so
Well, women though, they have it hard.
I can't imagine.
Like if we put on a couple extra, it's like, oh, he has a hot like dad bod.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like women being ripped apart on those reality shows, you know, for their body. They're like in bathing suits.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's
That's why that
crazy.
first
And the
season
guys
you
do a
go-
lot of steroids too because of that.
Really?
Yeah. Like well, allegedly. I'm not saying my show, but like all these shows with the hot hunks
Right.
everywhere and shit. Maybe not The Bachelor because they're
But
just
you
like
see,
corn-fed
they-
fucking freaks.
But you see when The Bachelor goes from like that first season that people go on, like I'm sure your first season, you guys look like, you know, like baby deer, like
With
you're
regular
like,
people.
regular
Yeah.
people. And then you come back that next season. It's that second season
Mhm.
where
The
guy from
challenge.
right,
Yeah.
the challenge. The
Yeah.
guy comes
Yeah.
from being on the like being one of the Bachelorette
Yeah.
suitors to being the guy.
Oh yeah,
The glow up is real. Like look at Joey right now. That guy Joey, when he was on the Bachelorette,
not hot at all.
he was like
Joey
a fine
Camasta? Wait, who's Joey?
Joey
The Bachelor.
Grazadeh. He's
Is this the last Bachelor?
now. Yeah.
Okay.
and he was on charity season, and he had he was on it, and you were like, good looking dude,
Yeah.
tennis pro, fine.
Yeah.
He came back for after the final rose for charity season to be like, I'm the Bachelor. And I remember Kay York City, my co-host for the Bachelor podcast.
Yep.
She was like, different.
He's hot.
Like she was like, oh my god, who is this guy?
He did a
You know?
cycle. He did a couple.
Yeah.
He did something. He went and sat with a trainer. I mean, there's got to be these like TV trainers like that
For
know what they're doing.
sure.
Yeah. Or what about that like Kumal, that guy?
Oh,
Which one is
Kumail
that?
Nanjiani. I mean, like
Yeah.
that guy goes in a Marvel movie, but that's the thing. Like, they get chefs, they get like
Yeah.
studio pays sometimes. Like, I would love to have a chef where I could be like, here's the amount of calories, and then I only eat
Mhm.
from you.
That's it.
And
I mean,
then-
that's what anyone can do it if you have that, you know?
Right.
Like
Time,
cook?
energy.
That's like
money.
Jake Paul, like his boxing and shit. Like I actually give him respect for doing it because he's doing it, but he has a leg up because he has so much money to have a team of trainers,
Right.
nutritionists, chefs, and everything. That's why I'm like, DJ Khaled, what are you doing? Because he posts like his chef
think
every
Frank
day,
used to be
but he's
fat,
still fat.
You
No, but he
know?
posts, he's like, yo, today they're making me this like 600 calorie amazing
haven't seen
breakfast.
what he-
Oh, really? Like his whole journey is like, because he got famous like from being on Snapchat and like documenting, vlogging his life, you know?
Uh-huh.
And he has like chefs and everything.
know
And he
that.
works out every day.
Dude,
with
well,
and he's just fat. He's just so funny.
I can
Relate.
I have a little DJ Khaled in me. Like I'm a closet eater. So like
Yeah,
I'm
he's like
doing-
the
my fat happens in the shadows.
yeah.
You know, like when because
Yeah.
during the day, like I'm gonna do egg whites, I'm gonna do a protein bar,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna get to do my show. I'll do a cellar set,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, a martini sounds good. You had a
Yeah.
good day.
But you
I'm
don't
like
feel
a
like you're ruining
rationalizer.
it now? Like I feel like when you put in all that work, like if you're putting 80% work throughout the day, I kind of don't want to do that.
goes
But if I'm
both
cheating
ways.
all throughout the day, I'm like, fuck it, I'll have the cookies.
See, it goes both ways. I've had that. I used to live with my younger brother, and we'd like be hungover. We'd be like sitting in our apartment, and we'd be like, "Is it a wash?"
yeah.
wash,
Are we
and then
gonna
we just
finish
eat
strong? Are we
the
gonna
whole
finish
day,
strong?
you know?
Yeah.
But then there's that,
Oh, wash.
It's a wash.
It's
We
a
would
wash.
announce it's a
Yeah,
wash.
yeah.
But there's the other version of it where you go, and this is what I do. I rationalize everything. I mean, I talked about it on the special. It's like I talk about like the idea that like everything at Trader Joe's to me is healthy for being a Trader Joe's. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I kind of do that move. Where, I did it the other night. I was so mad at myself. I
Mhm.
went, and I think the problem is I think if I took alcohol in my life, I have in my head that I would be 17 pounds. Like and I'm like, I'm afraid to do it
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
because what if I'm wrong?
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, what if I
yeah,
just
yeah,
look
yeah.
like this? You
Yeah.
know, like, and
You're not big.
I know
though.
I'm fine, but I'm like, I just like, I know that like, this is me with 5 martinis Tuesday night
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
ordering food at 2 a.m. So the dream is almost better than the
You're
reality.
right. You're
Yeah, that
right.
makes
You're
sense. That
right.
makes
Sometimes even like with mental health
Uh-huh.
and stuff, I'll have like a plan and then like I'll do it and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, oh, this is great. And then it doesn't work. And I'm like, fuck.
That's oh my
I'm like,
god.
I'd rather just be like fucked
Right.
up
That's
and
so
be like,
true.
and never try to do the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because then at least like I have something to look forward to. I'm like, oh, that's that medication. I don't take medication, but like, let's just say I did. Like that medication's gonna save me one day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you do the medication
And then it doesn't,
you're
then
like,
it's fucked.
what do I do now? You know?
Like it being beyond you
Mhm.
is so much more depressing,
Out of control. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Than knowing the thing and thinking you know the thing. Like,
yeah.
I mean, my brother's wedding's this weekend. I'm going from here to the airport. I'm gonna go back home and go
Right
to
now?
the airport.
Mhm.
Oh,
My brother's.
nice.
It's this. I'm wearing the hat. I'm wearing the merch.
Oh shit.
My brother Harry Do Crew.
Harry Do Crew.
This is so.
So the wedding is this weekend.
This weekend in
Boston?
St. Louis.
Oh,
My-
St. Louis.
She's from St. Louis.
Okay.
And you know, I have to wear a suit Friday night and a
Yeah.
tux Saturday night.
Okay.
I have them in my closet.
Mm-hmm.
For the last 3 weeks, I've avoided trying them on. I just don't want to try them on. And I'm like,
Just want to squeeze in that day, you know?
like, I'm just like, I'm like, they fit. Then I'll like wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, they don't fit. Like, I'm going to, like, I have these like nightmares. And last night, last night I put myself in a position to feel this anxiety, feel horrible because I'm like, if this doesn't fit, now I'm going to feel bad that it doesn't fit and I don't have a suit.
Mhm.
Right.
I tried it on last night and I was like, okay, we just made it.
You just made it?
Like, we're not buttoning the jacket.
That guy.
But, yeah.
You have like an almond mom? Like, were your parents?
I'm from that generation.
What's
like,
an almond mom?
It's like the moms that don't encourage eating. They eat like almonds for like their fat.
Oh my God.
I
wish.
To me,
I have the opposite.
That was every 90s mom.
Yeah.
Was like,
that's my mom.
Right, like the chips with Olean.
Yeah.
Like that, like
Yeah.
Olean chips. I remember when that came out. It was like this different oil that made you shit your pants, but it was like, had no fat.
Yeah.
Heart healthy.
Right. And
Yeah.
like everything in my life has been this, how do we trick our way into not gaining weight?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think that, the almond mom, everything has been given like a term, gaslighting, almond mom, everything's been therapized, and I'm just like, to me, like my mom would be like, it's always eat, be careful, you're eating too much.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? It was this push-pull of things. And I think that was like all families back then, this idea of like, we didn't even know calories were the issue. That's how far
No one ever
away.
mentioned this.
Right, like
Yeah.
now I watched, what's his name? He's Sayat Fitness on Instagram. He's
Okay.
fantastic.
Uh-huh.
He makes it real world. He takes all health and fitness stuff and makes it real world.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of calories in, calories out, like that's the answer to all weight loss. Like plain and simple. Like I'm not a health professional. I don't know shit.
No, you're right.
It's
Yeah.
math.
Yeah.
And growing up, it was all emotion. It was
Yeah.
all, let me have the chips with Olean that make me shit my pants.
Yeah.
But it's Olean. Like I'm doing it. I get to have chips still. It's like, why not have the good chips
Yeah.
that don't make you have diarrhea
Yeah.
and have 3 of them?
Right.
And that it's just, I want volume.
Yeah. And the 90s moms, they were right before like J-Lo. So they miss, you know what I mean? Like my mom's
Right.
beauty standard is still like Gwyneth Paltrow. Like when I have the flu, she's like, oh my God.
Oh, because JLo's a little thicker.
Yeah. And then that's whenever the big butt
Yeah,
thing was,
let's
like, for the
go.
white guys and everything.
J-Lo doesn't get enough credit for the big butt revolution. The Kardashians kind of took that
Yes.
over from her.
For sure.
Yeah.
I always thought that
JLo's was real though.
there's a lot of J-Lo hate going on right now.
Oh my God. She's so
Because what, the
cringe.
documentary?
Yeah.
She's
In
doing
that
this
movie-
Jenny from the block thing, and like you see all these TikToks of
That was
people
funny.
from her block.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being like, I knew where you went to school. Like,
Yeah.
but that's kind of like the world now. Like everyone's trying to like, you only get a seat at the table if you tell your tale. And it has
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
like, living in the land of I didn't have it
Mhm.
enough. Where
She doesn't
Did
seem
you
like
see that
Jenny
video
from the block.
with like her hair out?
Seems like Jenny from Beverly Hills.
And she's
Yeah,
like-
she's in the gym or some shit.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
it's a tough video to watch. And you can tell like she's like very much trying to like,
Mhm.
co-opt a certain type of person, like to
Mhm.
like connect with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, the internet just figures it out always. You can't lie to the internet.
Right.
It doesn't, I think like, and everyone tries and it's tough to win that battle.
Are you seeing the quiet on set stuff going on?
Mhm.
What's that? Oh, it's the
It's the-
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, the Nickelodeon doc.
That has been out there too for a long time, but now it's like
Yeah.
a documentary.
Yeah, it's like a
Mhm.
3-episode. I finished it last night. Did you watch it?
I'm not done yet, but it's crazy. I mean, not surprising at all, though.
Yeah, it's just like the whole thing is like about this one guy, Dan Schneider,
Right.
who that's like the weird part is that like he was like the ringleader of like a million shows.
Mhm.
Like, why does one guy have all these shows? Like, it would be,
Ultimate power, ultimate corruption.
right. It would be like less of a thing on him, and he could have more of an excuse if he like had one show, but he like was he was the king of
Right.
like all these children, which was like kind of weird. So basically it's like just like inappropriate jokes, a lot of like feet things
The
and
feet thing was like the one thing you saw.
A lot of
before this
feet,
came
a
out.
lot of squirting on faces, a lot of like Ariana Grande's like pouring water on her face and stuff like that. Inappropriate, weird. I mean, back then maybe you were watching it and you were like, this is just like silly. But now that you're looking back, like that, like a fat writer like
Mhm.
wrote like, I want to see Ariana Grande like suck juice out of a potato
Yeah,
when
yeah,
she's
yeah.
13, is fucking weird, you know?
I'm sure
Put
they're
it
just
all-
scratching the surface, though. You know what I mean? They're not going to release the real shit. You know what I mean?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's one of those things where you put it all together.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But you go
From like 20
on
years
its
later.
own, you go, oh, this is children's show doing children's show.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
go, wait a minute. And I remember there was a moment before the stuff came out about the feet thing.
Mhm.
You just heard that he like was this. He had every Nickelodeon show, and you were like, wait a minute, he was on some of the shows.
Yeah, he was on.
He was an actor who
started as an
figured out
actor,
this
yeah.
was like a business.
Yeah.
And then like there's other people like that. Like Mark Summers from
Mhm.
Double Dare, like owns the Food Network. Like
It's
you know,
so
like,
weird.
it's so
It's like, why are
weird.
you on the show?
Yeah.
It's like, how much power do you need? He's like, no, I want you to see me. I'm gonna be in Good Burger.
Right. I thought it
was
was
a
an
good
actor
burger.
who like figured out that like have you ever heard of like Hallmark movies? You can like there are people that just write Hallmark movies.
Uh-huh.
Like you
Yeah.
can just submit, you can just be in that game. And like and if you know the formula, you just know the formula. So like
Yeah.
there are people that are like, I make my living
He's like,
writing
Yeah.
Hallmark
Yeah.
movies, just switch out firefighter for police officer.
Yeah,
right.
Like-
Yeah, this guy was like, I know children's TV shows or
Yeah.
something like that.
And there's
you know?
something to that I like. I'm not jealous of that guy, but I'm jealous of the person who zones in
Mhm.
on like I do this and I do this
good at
extremely
it.
well. I do the Hallmark movies, like
Yeah.
because I'm just so spread out. Like I just like doing a bunch of shit, but I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know how someone's that focused to write about a woman editor at a magazine
Yeah.
coming back to her hometown, 7,000.
You gotta find your niche. You gotta find your niche.
I forgot how talented Amanda Bynes was, too. She was so
She was
amazing.
funny.
She was
Yeah.
funny. Well, that's the thing. These are
She's funny.
these are sketch shows.
Right.
They're sketch comedy shows. And like where he fucked up too is like, you know, a lot of in this industry, there's a lot of like I feel like the directors and the producers feel like they need to be the crazy geniuses that like you walk into their office, they're like, get out, like throw something. I'm a genius,
Yeah.
you know? But he was doing that on like children's sets. Like if
Yeah.
you're gonna be that guy on the children's set,
Right.
you probably have to have like a soft demeanor. It's like a different vibe. You're not in fucking Hollywood. You're not Harvey Weinstein. You don't want to be
Well,
Harvey Weinstein of Nickelodeon. You know what I
It's
mean?
also this thing of like, what are you doing here, dude? Like it's like the parent that coached the little league team.
Yes.
Kid grew up and they're still coaching the little league team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know,
Your
like-
son graduated.
Right. Why are you still? And then you go, well, I guess it's his passion. They like to coach. But then when they're like just being mean, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I think you like this power.
Yeah.
You know, like I think,
Seriously.
right.
I have a little bit of a. I was on one of those sets once.
Oh, you were on the Nickelodeon?
I was on a set because like my friend knew. I think it was the show Victorious.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
My friend like knew one of them or something like that, and like I went to the set. I don't have a crazy documentary story or anything.
Blessed.
Yeah, no. I went there and I met them. I met Ariana Grande, and funny story. And it was whatever. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a Nickelodeon building, like in Hollywood somewhere. And there's like a name dropping stupid story, but I met
You got one in. You got
Yeah,
Ariana.
yeah.
I met Ariana. No, because it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get
Ariana
worse.
Grande.
It's gonna get worse.
Just names.
I
Then
fucking
Nick Cannon showed up.
Nick Cannon showed up.
3 of his kids.
I went to hang out with Scooter Braun,
Really?
Really?
another one.
There we go. We're,
No, and then he goes, I'm going to meet with this girl today. I think she has potential. Her name is Ariana Grande.
Oh.
And I was like, oh shit, I just met her on that show. She was just like a little redheaded girl, you know. I was like, I just met her, you know. I think she can sing too. I'm like, you should definitely like. I'm like giving Scooter Braun advice. I'm like,
Yeah,
you should
yeah,
take
yeah,
that
that's
meeting.
so
I go,
funny.
you should
taking
take
credit?
I said, you should.
for
Just
Ariana
stop.
Grande right now?
You heard it right
That
now
is
on my
so
podcast. I
funny.
discovered
Vinny
Ariana Grande.
Guardino.
I discovered
You
Ariana
should-
Grande.
I see something. I
Yep.
saw her on Victorious.
I did. I see
Scooter-
something in that kid. I was like
Scooter
the
was
Jewish
about-
guy in the back of the fucking theater that like in the movies, like
Yeah.
Back to the Future. Like, you got to hear this.
That is so funny.
Sign her. No, literally like a month later, she became like the biggest star in the world. I'm
Wow.
not saying I caused it, but I was just like,
Did you
when I was watching that thing, I was like, oh, I was on one of those sets once and saw them. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean?
really?
Yeah. She was like, I don't know how old she was, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. But yeah, I discovered Ariana Grande. Just,
That's
you know.
so cool.
Yeah.
Was he
but-
arrested, Dan Schneider, at the end of the?
No, he did. He just did a follow up, like his own thing with the Hollywood Reporter, where it was like his apology. But the real shit that came out was the kid from Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
That he it never came out till now that he was molested
Hey.
on the set.
By him.
Because no, not by him. Like there were these like 2 pedophiles that like worked on these sets, which is weird. And that's where the guy Dan should take responsibility too, because he's in charge of everything. I was like how do you fuck that up?
Yeah.
Like the
They
one
know.
place not to have pedophiles is a children's Nickelodeon set, and they had 2.
Yeah, I'm sure they
The
knew.
fuck?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just like you get sad for it because it's like you have these
So sad.
TV shows and you're like you watch them, you go, there's got to be kids TV,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Right,
like,
I
we
know
gotta
that
have
has to
it.
be. Now, I
And
know because
then-
now I'm like turn on Nickelodeon, I feel weird. I'm
Well,
like, what the fuck is going on there?
right, but
know?
then you go, you know, you gotta have a workplace, and then you
I know, but like
you
even
open yourself up, like
even
it's
when
like-
things are good, I feel like it still ruins their life every time. Like if you're famous from that young,
That-
you know?
that's the thing.
Hillary Duff is the only.
It's seemingly,
Yeah.
Seemingly, yeah.
Seemingly.
But I even like, I mean, when you go on a set, and like
Mhm.
I had like one line on a show, it was all day, like and
Yeah.
it was like tiring, not from like the perspective of like I was doing like, you know, I wasn't in a
Digging
coal
ditches.
mine,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
but like you're on your feet, off your feet, on, off, and you're like a kid going through this. Like, what parent? You either have to like you just hope that the kids are like, I want to do this, and it wasn't like the parent being like, isn't this a good idea?
Yeah.
What comes
Yeah.
first? you know?
Right.
Miley Cyrus had this autobiography that she released when she was 16, which is so funny. But,
She had a story to tell.
really
She had a
did.
story to
But
tell.
After the first season of Hannah Montana, she was so stressed out that she developed a hole in her heart. Because, you know, she
Oh
would
my God.
immediately had to tour as a musician
Yeah.
as well, which she was not even like a real, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then they still were like, you got to do it.
I feel like
So-
Miley made it out
She's
okay.
pretty, you know, she's adjusted.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
You know, like,
she like
she-
went through a couple things, but she like kind of made it out for what
Yeah.
what she dealt with.
And
got
now she's
married.
like, you know, like even to see her at like was it the Grammys? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is like someone with their own
Yeah,
music style,
Yeah,
their
she's
own.
so
Like,
good.
it doesn't feel produced. It feels very much hers. So
Yeah.
which
she
is,
loves
like,
the music. Like she's an
Right.
artist, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's-
Anyway, what's going on in the Bachelor world?
well,
Jared?
hold on. When you're on a
What?
show, how old were you when you were on?
21.
So 21,
Yeah.
like you're in that child. Like I would consider that
Yeah.
still growing up. You know, frontal lobe isn't
Totally.
solidified at that point. Like,
Sometimes I'm talking to a girl and I'm like, I don't know what to say to you. Like, I don't know how to communicate
Yeah.
with you. Like, I feel like I was, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I was like I missed out on like socially developing skills
Oh,
that I
really?
would have like in the real world if
Ah.
I wasn't like famous. You know what I mean?
The thing is, 21. Were you graduated college?
I just graduated college.
So you
yeah.
just graduated. Like that's the time of life where you like doubt yourself the most.
Yes.
That's the time of life where you become a little more cynical. The world doesn't happen in like black and white, a
Right.
little more gray. That's the time where you're like, oh, adults aren't good at their jobs sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like, so for you to have such major success
Yeah.
at 21 and kind of like skip that whole like doubt yourself era,
Yeah.
does that like, you know, that I'm sure like
That's a
when
good
it
point.
all comes down, you're like, wait a minute, everyone's on their careers already and I'm back to the, like, I don't know what the next step is. I'm sure that's like a little bit.
Well, the only saving grace of that was like I just grew up like my life was so I don't want to say shitty growing up because like my parents were the most loving parents in the world, but like no money, like we lived in a house where like the electricity would be turned off every week. Things were scotch taped together. Like it was just like a bad situation. Like I went through it my whole life.
yeah.
The kind of struggle, you know what I'm saying? So I was
You
like,
know it was a struggle?
no,
or-
not
yeah.
really. I was like, I mean, I kind of did get embarrassed, like to have friends over at my house and stuff like that. I'd be like, have people drop me off around the block, but
But that's kind of the beauty of no social media during that time is like, you only
Yeah.
know what you know.
Yeah.
You know,
Right,
you're like, I'm
right.
embarrassed my friends are coming over, but it's like, this is the one time. You know?
yeah, like it wasn't that much comparison. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was just like if I went to someone else's house, I'd compare myself to that. But yeah, no. So when I wasn't like just like having this great life and then had the success. You know what I mean? But to be yeah, like it did kind of like I said, just like fuck me up like socially. You know?
But even to go back to like the stand-up thing, like, you know, I got the ability to like, it's at the time you want to just be doing sold out shows, but I was given the ability, if you look at it on the positive side, to fuck up, to like
Yeah.
go do open mics 3 times a night
Yeah.
for like 2 years
Yeah.
at a bar. without anyone seeing, knowing, wondering. I could bomb. I could
It's
do
so
well.
hard.
And then, you know, when we're doing the show at Levity Live and I have like, you know, the act I had at the time, like I feel like I'm a little bit more ready.
Yep.
And you're like, let me try this. But now you got people there going,
Oh no, I'm an open micer that has an audience. It's like the weirdest thing.
right. But that's kind of like the, you know, that's the 21 of it all. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, when you're 21 and you get this audience.
Just thrust it into.
And even at that time, like the idea of having your own audience wasn't really a thing. It was like,
I know.
people watch the Jersey Shore. You
I
know, it wasn't
know.
like,
I know. I was
Vinny
thinking about that
Guadagnino,
too. Like
you know?
comedians, like they weren't like, but before the internet and shit, like they weren't like many celebrity comedians. I love comedy, so now I'm starstruck
right.
by fucking comics that would have been in that green room of Levity Live.
Yeah.
Dude, you could count on your hand before social media.
Yeah.
You could count on your hand how many comedians could tour just because they were a comedian.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like every other that could tour was friend in a sitcom, in a movie, you know, other thing got people to know
Some
them
other
to
big
do
project.
stand-up.
Yeah.
So like now the other thing is your own thing. Now the other thing is your podcast so like, you know, for me especially, like I have people that come to my shows that like they're not stand-up fans. They're fans of like, you know, The Bachelor and like for me it was always important like to go do stand-up every night because it's like I'm not going to invite someone to my show and feel like it's not a worthwhile show.
Right.
And I also don't want to do like The Bachelor all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do my
Everybody on
thing.
stage. The Bachelor?
I used to. I did a spit in my special about it. And then it was like, but the bit was a personal bit. Like it was like, it was my take on The Bachelor for my life, you know? So, and it wasn't, you had to be, you have to be able to go up in a club and do it for people who don't know you to then have it be good enough to do for the people that do know you.
Yeah.
She always says, she's like, make sure you have jokes for, I'm discovering that, like jokes for all different types of people.
Right.
Because sometimes things work. Like tell a joke about a dog, it works for these people. But then like a stupid Jersey Shore joke for those people.
But
Dating.
I always told you, I always said to you, I remember doing those Levity Live shows. I was like, you got to tell your stories. Like you're,
It's kind of how you feel though about like you just said. Like, you know, like you do want to tell them, but you want to make them personal to you to where it's like universal of just, this is funny. You know what I mean?
But I remember you telling me a story about someone.
Because I get embarrassed on stage, like fucking, like talking about reality shows. Like it's weird. I like literally, like I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I love the bits that aren't about that. It might be something subconscious, but I know what you're gonna say.
You told me the story about the woman hiring you to walk her down the aisle because her dad passed away.
Yeah, I think
That's so
and
funny.
I just think that's so funny and
so
interesting and like such a weird
yeah.
thing that I think anyone, because here's the thing that, you know, to ease your anxiety about it, like everyone can relate to a wedding or being at a wedding or seeing someone walk someone down the aisle that isn't the dad. You go, what's the deal here? Like the wedding is relatable. You know, you are the story of I was hired is unrelatable, but you're in a world that is something that I remember saying this to you. I remember saying like, why? And you end up talking about it on stage, I think a little bit. And I
did a
remember
bit
it
about
working.
It. It does work. I hate that
I
it
was
works.
so happy.
I hate that it works
Why?
though.
Why do you hate it?
I think it's like, I don't know, like if I was doing like a Netflix special to the world, I can like feel comfortable telling the story or talking about Jersey Shore reality TV, you know? But when I'm at like an open mic or I'm just around like, and I'm by myself and there's nothing like, I don't want them to look at me like a reality star or something.
But that's,
you know what I mean?
understand what you're saying, but I think you will be, what you just said, you can see yourself telling that story on a special. So you have to get to like the third level of the joke. Like you have to talk about it so much. And this is the hard part. This is about reps.
Yeah.
I think I just spend so much time not talking about that when I'm in just like a regular setting or something that like, I just don't want to bring it up. You know what I mean? But no, I get it. Like that's, like you said, third level of that joke is fucking.
Third level is the relatable level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just fucking my life, like being on reality. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking weird.
Right.
You know?
And now, you know,
I usually just open with a joke and end with a joke. Like, you know.
it's even more relatable now because everyone is their own reality show.
Mm.
Everyone is face
That
to
Black
camera.
Mirror
Right.
stuff.
Like everyone's doing, here's what I had for lunch. Here's where I am, especially when they go on vacation.
Yeah.
You know,
it
is
vlogging.
right. Everyone's kind of doing
Those
it.
random old person.
You know, we got an offer because like some woman said like I relate I got an offer because some woman said I reminded her of her dead father. And she wanted me to walk her down the aisle at her wedding.
Oh my God.
Like that's an
That's an
insane
insane story.
So I say, I've said it on stage.
And how did it go? Like, what was the?
Did you do it?
How was the joke?
Yeah.
The joke was like, I'd be like, oh, so like, at what point did you realize that I reminded you of her father? Was I like, fucker, Paulie? And then she's like, that's my dad, you know?
Yeah.
That was like the joke, you know?
Wait, but I don't know why.
We're still at level 1, Jared.
It's too like Jersey Shore, like because that's kind of separate from. It's not like a episode.
No,
Was there a
it was
famous
like,
person?
she was like, no, like she watched the show.
Oh, okay. Got
And
it.
she, you know, because like at the time, just people just like loved us. They would just like, we were relatable. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And,
And,
you know.
then there's a
That's
thing of
hilarious.
like, what money do you accept? Like,
Yeah, I think
you
that's
know,
part of,
like
that's a huge part
that's
of the
part,
joke.
right? Like,
Like, do you need that money?
Have you
Yeah.
gotten like weird offers? Like corporate stuff
get
and like
some, like-
weird.
I just did a show at a country club in Boca,
Oh, nice.
and it was brutal.
Really?
And it wasn't brutal for them. I think I did okay for them,
Okay.
but it's like, you know, you're performing. And then my parents came. They brought their friends because my parents live in Boca now too.
Mhm.
So it's just like you're in a country club.
Country club in Boca sounds crazy.
Yeah.
That sounds like the most American.
I mean, it's out
elitist
of
thing.
It's out of Seinfeld. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's like all these people, and especially, and I'm talking a lot about millennial boomer stuff,
Uh-huh.
and you know that generation, my parents, our parents, you know, they don't want to admit that they've gotten, you know, that they're out of the game.
They're
at all.
older.
Like I called it a retirement community, and that was like the most offensive thing.
Oh
I
my
could ever say.
God.
They were like, "Whoa, boo!" Like they're booing me.
It's
I'm
a
like, "Oh yeah, you
country
guys are working
club.
so hard down here."
Yeah.
Like, and it's like they don't, and they do believe that. Like,
Yeah.
and it was, I mean, it was fine. My parents were like, "We want to come," and usually my parents know to sit in the back. And I'm talking all about my family, so like people knew that they were there, and my dad's just like perched up on the side. He wouldn't sit down.
Mm.
So like every joke, the whole audience would look at him, look at me, look at him.
Oh, that's.
And I was like,
What
what are you doing to
Yeah,
me? Like,
yeah,
why are
yeah.
you doing this?
Yeah.
And people yell out because they, you know, you're a kid to them. Even though I'm 39, you know, they're like, look
Right.
at, what's this kid gonna
Yeah.
tell me? I'm,
Mhm.
you know, I like Jack Benny or some shit, you know, like, so, but it was fine. It's just like, you know, you go, every show is a wait, but is like this, like, it's just like the woman who wants you to walk her down the aisle.
Yeah.
How much money?
Right.
You know,
Right.
go, "Ah,
Yeah, I'll
be your
figure it out.
dad."
I'll figure it out. I'll
Right.
figure
How
it
much
out.
were you paid for that?
I didn't do it.
Oh,
I didn't do it. Nah.
See, that's
I
how you
thought-
know. That's the thing. When Vinny starts doing those gigs,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'll know.
things are
Yeah.
tough. Things are tough.
Things are tough.
Like when I was doing a Gotham Comedy Live, I was like, "All right, Jared, help me figure out how to be a comedian in a week.
In a
'Cause
week.
I need 10
Oh,
grand."
did he help you write that?
Yeah, like I knew him
I
at
got
the
on
time.
the phone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
got it. Wow.
Yeah, so he was giving me some pointers.
But for me, like I'm just such like I love a story. Like I love like, and I remember we were on the phone. I'm like, just tell this story the way you would tell it to anybody. Like you know,
Yeah.
my brother's wedding this weekend. I have a best man speech I gotta give.
Mhm.
I'm like, I didn't write it out. I have one story I want to tell. I'm gonna
That's
like
awesome.
hash
Jared
it out.
Freed gets to give
Yeah,
your
I
fucking
think
best man
that's pretty
speech,
neat.
dude.
I mean, that's the thing. That's
now
why
you got
there's a lot of
pressure. Now you got pressure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I know.
I gotta do.
That'd be fun
I
to
gotta do
punch up.
15 right now. Like what the
And
fuck?
I'm gonna have all these guys come out. You know, my brother's an athlete. I'm gonna have all these athletes come out to me. Oh, I thought you'd be funnier. You know, busting assholes.
yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I thought you thought I'd be better at my life's work.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
You're
you
from
know.
Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, same.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
I'm from Needham.
Okay.
How come you don't have the accent? Did
No
you
one
lose it?
really in my
No.
area. The people that ended up having the accent, it felt like they wanted to.
Yes.
You know, like my
Yeah.
dad has an accent, but he's his whole life there. I left at 18 for
Mhm.
college. I
Me
went
too.
to Penn State, so like, you know, and then I came here. So,
Mm.
and my mom's from Michigan, so like the whole accent thing.
Mhm.
People ham it up, kind of.
I think sometimes like
White
men
people.
especially like there's a hotness associated with it.
It's kind of hot.
So there we go.
Like a blue collar, like white boy. I was like, yeah.
No, I get it because I'm from Staten Island, so it's like we have the same
Exactly.
version.
You have
of
a
that,
version of
but-
that
Yeah.
guy.
But on a
Yeah.
woman, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
I remember I was like just doing like a show up there, like a prank show, and it was like an ambulance scene. So like we were in that EMT Boston world, and I was like
Uh-huh.
walking up the stairs, and like there's just like it was freezing cold. This dude with red hair just spotted me in the staircase. He's like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" Like it was just like the most Boston thing. I'm like, he's an EMT worker,
Yeah.
red hair, freezing cold.
He's in the costume.
He's in the costume, and then he just said, "I'm like, wow, this actually happens up here."
There's also
Yeah.
nothing more. It's incredibly endearing, the Boston accent. Like it's like it's almost like it's tough guy while also warm at the same time.
Right.
Because, like I remember I got to the hotel and the guy like doing the cars. Like I got out of the Uber and he's just everyone's just always on there, like ball busting
Yeah.
nonstop. My grandmother was that way. Like I did a show once and I got off stage. My grandmother was just like, take off that stupid fucking hat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just like nonstop.
I've never met a black person with the accent though.
Oh, I have.
You have?
Really?
Absolutely.
That's a good point.
You can't even picture it, can you?
I think I've heard.
Wait,
I think
no,
I've heard.
I haven't.
I've met
I'm fucked up.
Asians, black people,
Your
white
family
people.
doesn't have
Everyone's
it?
got the accent.
No,
Oh.
they sound like, well, no, me and my mom sound like Valley Girls, and the rest of my family. They sound
Yeah.
like normal black
what-
people.
Yeah.
Did they grow up in Boston?
Yeah, Dorchester.
Dorchester.
Yeah. So like real black, you know?
Okay.
Is that a white place?
No, it's a black place.
Oh, is it? Or are you being
No,
sarcastic?
I'm not being serious.
It's a black place?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Dorchester. There's nothing I like more than like as I get older, like a Boston movie.
Mhm.
They become like I had to do like a
The
top
pop.
5 movies, and like 3 of them are Boston ones. Like The
I mean-
Town, Departed,
Yeah.
and I mean all those Ben Affleck ones.
Again,
you know?
endearing tough guy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
accent's endearing, like relatable for some reason.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
but also you think that they're tough. You
Yeah.
know? It's a weird combo. Like you go to
Never thought of it
Aruba
like
has
that.
a lot of Boston people because that for whatever reason.
Aruba,
Yeah,
like the
I think
island.
the island of
Interesting.
Aruba because
Is it close there, or it was like a direct flight or something?
yeah,
Makes
well,
it-
I think what they do is they make a lot of these islands will like make deals. The airports will make deals together, like the
Mhm.
governments.
Yeah.
And like in Aruba, for whatever reason, how many years ago? This is like modern day, like caveman stuff. Like how did we travel? What
Mhm.
brought people from one place to the other?
Mhm.
And it's like if JetBlue does a direct flight to Aruba every day,
Yeah.
then you're gonna get a lot of Boston people in
Yeah.
Aruba. Like,
Yeah.
so, like there's like Dunkin' Donuts on the beach in Aruba. Like
Yeah.
it's like stuff
Right.
like that.
right.
So-
And
I never.
it's-
That's so funny to think
it's
of it
true
like
though.
that.
Like
Yeah.
like go to certain place. I'm sure there's other flight routes that have influenced
Well, yeah, that's why you always
Yeah.
see
how people migrate.
you always see Canadians on vacation in like the islands and certain islands
Uh-huh.
like Cancun and shit because I guess they have deals with them.
Well, there's an island. What's the? I think Bermuda in Canada is like,
Mhm.
or Barbados. One of those.
Canadians travel. They're just like we want to get the fuck out of here, and they just always end up on vacation next to you. Before like my show, like I've been to Canada. Like the only place I saw Canadians was in Jamaica, like in
Right.
islands and shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, you're real people. The fuck? What were you saying though? Oh, the Boston. Yeah, you were saying Boston, Aruba.
Well, you just see like these Boston people on the beach in Aruba, and you're like, it is almost warm. They're like, "What up, kid? You gonna go to the Dunkin'?" And you're like,
Yeah.
you can hear the voice in the distance.
yeah, it makes you
Yeah.
feel good.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Would you live in Boston?
No, I would. There's a piece of me that like yearns for a not New York lifestyle recently.
Remember, I saw you in the West Village, right?
Right.
You live over there.
Live in the West Village,
Yeah.
and I like it, but that's like a different like. You do find yourself becoming more and more unrelatable,
Mm.
like
Mm.
when living here. Like we just live a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, like the idea of like not like I have a couch, but I don't sit on my couch and
Yeah.
I'm in a studio. Like I'd rather
Yeah,
go to a
go
coffee shop
outside,
and just
yeah.
sit and stare. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing for me because now like I'll go down to like Florida, I'll hang out, in like with adults, and you're like,
do I want this?
Right? Do I want
Yeah.
this? Like
Yeah,
some of it's
yeah.
heartwarming, some of it's annoying.
Yeah.
Some of it's very small to me, like the trials and tribulations of like a bubble of like of a suburb. But then I kind of like it, like
Slower.
It's slower, but it's also like it's nice that that the problems are talking like the local high school problems are kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
right.
and here everything feels like it doesn't matter, but you could make it matter at the same time. Like
Mm.
here, there's always something bigger. There's always someone doing better, and it's like, but
with
also
your
you feel like
mind-
you're in the lottery still here.
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like with your mind and like you're doing stand up every night. If you have that type of drive and stuff, like I just don't think you would like it in a slower paced bubble like that.
Especially when
you
I
know?
travel, like doing comedy, we see the whole country. Like I see I see places, and every time you go to a city, they're like, "Do you hate it?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
I could see myself living here
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
nothing bad. Every place has a good place I could imagine living.
To live, yeah, but they don't have like a comedy scene where you're
That's the
running
problem.
around, you're
Yeah.
doing your podcast, you know, like you're creative and
That's
stuff.
true.
Like,
But then you see some people in like Nashville, they're doing it. Like
well, they're creating a scene, yeah.
the idea, like this studio, I was taping my podcast in my apartment.
Mhm.
So it was like podcast, bed, TV. It was
Yeah.
not a livable
Mhm.
39-year-old life.
Right.
And you know, you move somewhere else, you can have like you can get a guy in there, make the
cheap.
studio in that corner. And
Theo
then I'll live in
Von
the- Yeah, you could really do it, but you have to. I'm not there yet to be able
Same.
to
Yeah.
do that.
Do you want kids and shit?
I do. I think like I like just like the next phase. Like I think it's I want to see what the next season of the TV show looks
Uh-huh.
like. You know, like I've
Yeah.
seen this season. I'm in replays of The Office mode right now.
Yeah.
Like I've done the things I'm doing now, and I'm like I'm kind of getting a little itchy just to like.
Are you single?
I'm single.
Same.
Are you on dating apps and doing that?
I'm on Raya.
I got off them all over the summer.
Yeah.
I haven't been on.
I was only on Raya.
Yeah. Even Raya, you know, Raya's like a dance everyone goes to, but nobody dances.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
I hate it.
Everyone's
I'm
sitting around. Yeah.
It's so bad.
It's a nightclub we all wanted to get.
My
into.
type comes up like 1 out of 300 girls. So I just scroll. I'm like, all right, I'm waiting
But then
for
they're
my
also
type.
like weird and not smart.
Yeah, then we like don't talk.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm
Mute.
So if you got off the apps, like, what's your plan, Jared?
I'm out every night.
You're out?
Like
Yeah.
I you know, like when you do stand up, we're social people. We're more social than we want to believe. Even
Oh,
coming
yeah.
here. Like
Yeah.
most people go to their job, they see the same people, they go home, they have their dinner, they go to the gym, they go to bed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have a lot of variables. So like I'm kind of like counting on that. Like I'm not concerned about it, but like I definitely more and more I know what I'm looking for,
Mhm.
kind of how I'm looking to feel. But it's again, like it's hard because you go, this is a whole like lifestyle that and I think like especially for me, it's like if I was to get in a relationship, it like the next like that's a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
It's a total
Make like
lifestyle.
It is.
compromises and random shit.
Right.
Yeah. Are you ready for that? I'm ready for that.
Are you?
Yeah. I
Would you
talk
live
about it
here?
all the time.
Yeah.
I'm ready for. I never thought
I
of
feel
it.
like you
I
should
never
be
thought of it
fixed up.
that way. I thought that it was just. What'd you say?
You should be fixed up.
Like arranged marriage or something?
No, like I mean, I guess
Arranged relationship?
Yeah, like
I mean, I
feel
don't
like
care. But dude, I'm desperate at this point.
But
I'm about
you're
to start
starting
going
stand-up,
trans at this point.
So how are you gonna?
Who cares? Just a little dick.
Oh.
No, because they're cooler than
No, I
than you
know.
fucking girls. Sorry.
Yeah. Wait, that threw me off.
wait, who-
Or about to do it trans
one.
people.
Oh,
Or about
I didn't
to.
even hear what you said.
Yeah, I said trans.
Oh.
or do an arranged shit. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
but you're gonna be doing stand up a lot now, right? It's so
Yeah.
hard. I mean, I guess for guys it's different.
Anyone-
I
I
don't
gotta go to
No,
the
it's not.
stand,
I don't
baby.
think guys.
All the hot
stand
girls
up
are at the stand.
Yeah, it's not a way to go. I always say if you start stand up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend,
Yeah,
that shall end.
I haven't. Had sex. I told you I haven't. Had
Why?
sex
Because of
since
like the
September.
attention and shit.
I think when people start stand up, they're like doing whenever they start stand up, they're going through something. Usually,
Mm,
they're not really
that's true.
feeling good about their life.
Yeah.
They want more.
Yeah.
It's like getting a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
And there's something that's in their head. I don't know what it is. I don't, good, bad. It's just something.
Mm-hmm.
Something's noodling around.
I'll tell you, it's
So when
happening right now to me.
Right. But I'm saying if you're whenever I see someone who's like, yeah, married 10 years, I'm going to start stand up. I'm like, marriage over.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Girlfriend, 2 years. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, because that girlfriend, that husband, that other person, they don't know something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
their partner's going through something enough to get on stage and say it to strangers.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you see it all the time. It's like I think it more often than not when someone starts with someone.
It's a
So
good
like
point.
and also like stand up, you have to be willing to you have to be willing to say yes to a lot of things that people won't understand.
Yeah.
Yes. I was telling her last podcast, I was like, holy shit, this is like the first time in a long time where like my goal now every night when, the sun goes down is to like be like, where can I get on stage tonight?
Right.
And not what date can I go on?
Right.
You
So
know?
maybe you don't want a relationship right now.
No, I do, but like now I'm like, wait, what the
How
fuck?
are you gonna do it?
I know.
You know what I mean?
She just
I don't
she just
date at
she
all.
wants to keep me single
haven't
forever.
dated.
Yo, if I tell her that
Single?
Yeah.
if I
haven't had
tell her
sex
I
since
have a date,
September.
she goes, you're not committed to the game. She's like, you can't do it. She can't
But it's
do
so
it.
different for guys. You know what I mean? I
How
feel.
so?
I mean, my lifestyle as a woman is so unappealing to a man. You know what I mean? I feel like for a girl, a stand-up comedian guy is hot, and it's like, I mean, it's like a little intimidating, but it's like, oh my god, you're funny.
He's out working.
He's working and whatnot. But like when I am seeing a guy and I'm like out every fucking night, and I'm like, I'd rather.
Well,
do
her
this
night
than
ends
dinner.
at like 2 a.m. every
Yeah.
night. You know what I mean?
And it's just they don't like it.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean,
But
it doesn't have to end. At
No,
2
it
in the morning.
doesn't.
I mean, like, no, from my experience, like,
Mm-hmm.
you do your spots and you go home, or
Yes,
stay
Sienna.
out.
Yeah, but
You know,
they're late
like,
though. She works at like midnight.
yeah, I'll do like the midnight shows a lot.
Yeah.
Where
The Stand
they do a midnight show.
on the weekends.
Oh, the week.
Yeah. But then, yeah. I mean, I guess I could try harder.
What,
could
to like
try
do the
harder to
schedule
date.
or something?
Yeah, I could date
Well,
people during
to
the
me,
day.
there's no trying for dating.
Yeah,
And this is a very, kind of female thing that's like light on, light off of dating.
yeah.
And men are more, I think, generally just like dimmer switches with dating. Like, and I think a lot of men kind of have this belief that this like angel is going to float in their life and change their mind.
Mm.
If they're willing to change their whole life for this one person.
That's so true.
And it's not something, it's something you look back on, you can tell the story about afterwards a lot. And that's why you see like a lot, like you saw Jason Kelsey was like, my wife came into my life and I knew the minute I saw her. It's like, you swiped each other on a dating app.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So don't dress this up.
yeah, they're like rewriting history a little bit because they
always.
Yeah,
Because it's just a more fun story to tell and, probably still get some blown, So
Yeah.
it's like, and like, but I'm saying like, I do think like a lot of men operate in this like, when it happens, it happens. And like, from the women, especially the ones that write into my podcast, it's always like, I am now in. I am making commitment to dating. It feels very work.
it feels like work. That's why I was like, fuck.
Well, I don't like
married.
the committing to the dating part, but I think that when you do find the person, if they just somehow come into your life, you have to have the commitment to be in the relationship.
Oh,
and I never really did that. And I'm not talking about just monogamy.
Yeah.
I mean commitment in terms of like all the sacrifices you have to make. It's kind of like another job in your life. I don't want to say like being in a relationship, it feels like a job,
Yeah.
but it's like a responsibility. It takes like
Right.
discipline, structure. You know what I mean?
That's why, I think, a lot of guys think that way. That's why, like, when you have like people, a lot of women will write in and be like, "Hey, he said he doesn't know why, he's just not ready for a relationship." And is that an
He's not-
excuse? And
yeah.
it's like, he's not ready for the responsibility.
Yes, yeah.
And I think a lot of like, people feel that, like, oh, I want to feel good about giving myself to this.
Yeah. And like when I'm dating women, they'll do a thing where they're like I'm open to this, but at the same time, I still want to, be able to go travel. I still want to be able to have my career. Still want to be able to do like all these different things. And I'm like, it just doesn't sound like, it sounds like me. It sounds like me like 7 years ago where I just like was saying that. I'm like, I'm not ready for that responsibility.
The problem,
And I'm not saying
you have-
responsibility like it's a fucking job. It's just like, it takes like some
But the problem you
responsibility.
have is someone's gonna date you
Mhm.
and they're gonna go and you're gonna go, I'm gonna do the open mic. And they're like, but you don't need to
Yeah.
do that. And
That's true.
And you're gonna have to say, I do need to do that. And
Yeah.
it's like someone's gonna have to understand that your need to do that isn't monetary.
Right.
It's not, it's to feed this other thing that you have
Mhm.
undone.
Yeah. And also,
And
well,
it's
I mean,
hard to understand. That's hard to find someone who understands that.
it is kind of monetary though, like, because right now at this moment it's not, but I'm always trying to like set myself up for like the
What's
next,
the next
thing
thing?
down the road. You know what I mean? And, I was doing like the Chippendales thing, which that must be a weird thing for them to swallow. No pun intended. But stand up, I want to be the next thing. My dream is to just be able to do what you do and just be like, you know what, I'm in fucking Illinois for the weekend. You know what I mean? And like see your fans there and like have a good time.
It seems more fun than it is. I mean, like that's stressful
Well,
too.
maybe I
Like,
won't
wanna
do
be able-
every weekend.
Like I'm going to Minneapolis and Royal Oak, Michigan. And
Dude, that's
like,
awesome.
I'm excited to do.
You know what?
that.
Also, because maybe you don't see it from my perspective. It's like I've done all that shit to just do club appearances
Mhm.
where you just go and they just hire you and you just feel like, like I feel like a little like I don't want to say the word like sound like so fucking dramatic, but like worthless, where it's like, what am I doing? Like, why am I hired here for all this money and I'm not giving anything back?
Right. Well, that's
to these
the thing
people.
with that. Well, that goes back to like working on stand up and like the craft of it, like
Yeah.
being excited about a bit, being excited about the hour that like for me, like I understand what you're saying. Like I feel that because like I'm excited to go to Minneapolis and I'm excited to go to Royal Oak and like do those shows. I'm proud of the hour I'm putting on. A little bit of me is like, oh, I want to come back here in 2 years. What's the next hour going to be? Like I'm already
Yeah.
So like that's what stresses me out. Not the shows because they're going to be great.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, like, am I set up for the next thing? Where is this going to go? Like, will this special get made again? You know, like all those things. But these are the stresses of life. Like,
yeah, those are good. No, they're great
I think the
stresses.
problem we have is, you know, in the creator space is like, we don't have promotions and, you know, 9 to 5 where you can turn it off. It feels like it's on all the time. It feels like it's rattling.
Yeah.
And that's what like I'm trying to get better at is like I'm going to go to my brother's wedding, have the weekend.
Just fucking have the weekend.
Have a weekend at the brother's wedding.
He's gonna be doing the speech, but like, that's a good bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like,
let's write a sketch about it.
I mean, the speech might bomb. That might be the next story.
That's exactly
like, you know, you don't know, and it's
the
like you gotta
creative
live.
mind just doesn't shut off.
I think it's
you
so
know?
important.
You gotta, so it's like, and that's the hardest thing is like, okay, I go like you were saying, like I'm out till midnight. I could take it down. I'm the same way where it's like I'll do every show. Recently, I'm like I take Mondays off to do The Bachelor. I take Tuesdays off for myself to do dinner. I'll go on stage Wednesday. I'm out of town on Thursday. Like, I like that schedule, but we have to change all the time. That's the hardest part. Is like, you know, change is so hard, and everyone knows that, and we have to change our stuff every month. You know, like
starting over,
right? So
that's where I have a little bit of a leg up, just because like I feel like if you are grinding from nothing and starting out, it's like I have to do these every fucking single night because I'd be getting FOMO too. Like now I've only been doing it for fucking 3 weeks every night. But if I miss a night, I'm like, holy shit, I just missed a night.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like a second layer comes in. They're like, yo, Vinny, you're good. Like
I heard
you have a bank account. You know,
for anyone doing stand up, the best advice I heard was like Bill Burr said it. I took it from him. I sopped it up. If you're just getting a new minute a week, you're doing the right thing. And then I heard George Wallace say at the Gotham the other night, if you do a new minute a week, if you have a new minute that you like every week, okay, new, you know, that means at the end of the year, you got 52 minutes.
Wow.
That's an hour.
Yeah.
Special.
Wait, but when you do a new, this is me just asking advice. When you do the new minute, now though, don't you have to keep working that minute out?
Because here's the thing. Effort for
that's where I'm finding things too, because like I'll think of a new minute, I'm like, oh, that worked, but now I'm like, do I just fucking keep saying that minute instead? Because I don't think of a new minute. You know what I mean?
But the new minute, if you're trying, I always thought of it this way. Maybe I don't have the ability to write 52 great minutes a week, or 1 minute every week for 52. But if I try for 52, I might get to 30. You know, like
and reach for the moon,
right? And then you'll get, and it'll settle, and then over the years you get better at stand up, and now maybe when you're going for 52, you get to 40.
Yeah,
you know. So I think what I'm saying as far as like this week, the new minute. Now that you put that in the act for the next week with another new minute, or you extend.
But you only get like 10 minutes though.
What's that?
You only get like 10 minutes or whatever.
Sure, and then sometimes things that you thought were good in the new minute from week 1. Week 10, you might go, I hate that. But it became the next thing. Like this is all like perspective. It's taking something that's so large and like again, like I had that story, 2 minutes, now it's an hour 10. I kept like adding on. Okay, that part I like. I'll add on. Oh wait, well, what would like when I talk about looking in the mirror and looking at my body. Then I started talking about like beach chairs, and I was like, oh. I hate how I look in a beach chair. So it's like, and then I started talking about that. So like, it got me from one joke, it got me to the next topic, and it takes something that's like really a mountain and turns it into a molehill. Like it's like
condensing it,
right? And it's like you work on things a little over time. It's how everything works.
Yeah. Are you not doing any of your material from your hour?
None of it.
Okay, that's amazing.
So yeah, it's all new. It's all. I like doing it.
So you have another special that's lined up already, you said?
I
or
hope so.
you're working on it now and then you'll try
to tape it.
But the last one is on Netflix.
It's on right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's 37 and single.
37 and single.
It's on there. It's talk about dating, body issues, all the normal stuff. My family.
I got the JTrain podcast.
JTrain, the You Up podcast.
You
We
Up
do dating
podcast.
stuff. Yeah.
And I'm gonna whenever Jared will have me, I'm gonna go do that.
Come on
Go do it.
JTrain. We'll have
Come
a
on
good time.
JTrain. We'll have a great
I do
time.
this thing called TikToks that make me feel.
Uh-huh.
And we bring up just any TikTok that makes me like feel a certain way.
Oh, that's
just bring
great.
it up,
That's
and I'm
great.
like-
Yeah.
and I'm like, not that I hate it, not that I love it. I just felt.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know, you ever like, and you're like, why am I here?
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
so
That's a good idea.
How was your episode with Joey? The Bachelor episode.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That guy is a good guy.
He is?
Like he came on You Up,
I haven't
and we did
watched.
like I say that I'm 10% away from every guy someone's dating.
Uh-huh.
So like if I give an answer to someone's question about a guy, I might not be 100% on, but I'm right around within
Yeah.
a standard deviation away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do this game where like we put me versus a guy to show if we answer within 10% of each other.
Oh, that's funny.
And
Like a random guy or something.
yeah, or we just whoever the celeb, you know,
That's a
Joey
good
idea.
came on.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
And you
I
went
wonder-
on You Up, and Jordana.
Yeah. I don't think you were there. Oh, were we there?
I was there.
Oh, okay.
We did,
Okay.
it was maybe the old offices, but Jordana asked the questions, and so we like, you know, would you go for breakfast after sleeping with someone? Like,
Mhm.
does it matter to you? Like
Yeah.
things like that. And Joey, like for someone who's in a position where he has to say the right things, it's ABC.
Yeah.
He's got to be like,
Mm-hmm.
he was fun.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he was just a good
wasn't like-
guy.
yeah.
like you know, like he handled it so well. He laughed at himself.
Yeah.
you know. So and most of
I'm the
people-
opposite. They have to fucking muzzle me because like I'm part of the conglomerate, but like I'm from Jersey Shore, I'm not the
Right.
Bachelor. So, but they're like, no, you're still part of this Viacom. Like, bro, you gotta chill. Yeah.
right. You gotta make sure
Yeah.
you get a publicist. It's like we're gonna have to take out this, and that.
But yo, thanks for coming on.
Thanks
We've
for
been
having
here an hour. Jared FREID. Follow him
Pleasure.
everywhere. Watch his specials. Watch his stand up. And yeah, you're the man. Enjoy your wedding too.
I'm excited.
I want to hear the fucking speech, dude.
I'm gonna tell the story of how they met.
Because I've heard you do stand
Oh,
up.
that's beautiful.
Thanks.
I've heard you stand up. I need to hear because it's gonna
It's
be
the
funny. It's gonna be
sentiment.
funny to me no matter what because
Yeah.
it's you. You know what I mean? They
I
might be
hope
waiting
you're
for
right.
punchlines, but
I
like,
know. Well, that's the thing. Like I'll tell you the story. So my brother asked me to be his best man on a podcast that we both listened to.
oh wow,
So like Tony Kornheiser, the PTI,
Mm-mm.
he's on ESPN. So
Okay,
Pardon
cool.
the Interruption, is
sports
a
one.
great show. on
Yeah.
ESPN.
Oh, PTI. Yeah.
And then Tony Kornheiser has a podcast that we both listen to. So my brother wrote in to ask me to be his best
Oh,
man
that's
because he
awesome.
reads emails at the end. And I've also been a guest on the show.
Uh huh.
So the email that he wrote was kind of stepping on the things I want to talk about in the speech. Like it's like about how he met his wife and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, no one's gonna hear this. You know,
Right,
like,
right,
it's
right.
just for us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell these stories. And my brother sends it to the family group chat, like, you know, listen to starting at minute 52. It's you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
from a couple last Friday. So my dad listened, and it's really good. My brother wrote a really good letter, but the
Mhm.
story that I wanted to tell is really good. It's
Right.
it's an interesting
Yeah.
story. And Tony reads it and all this stuff, and my dad goes, "You should just play that."
Mm.
And I'm like,
Aw.
Play that.
Yeah.
We're gonna. My brother's gonna give himself a best man speech. What are you
Right.
talking
Steal
about?
it. Steal
Right.
it.
When I was like,
It's a good
I'm gonna
story.
do my version.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, well, why wouldn't you just play that? It's already done. It's good. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
in what world at a wedding? I was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
annoyed. I was like, in what world at a wedding is someone pressing play
Right.
and anyone listening to that? Like,
That's weird.
right, it's
That
not
not a
gonna
speech.
work.
Yeah.
It's not how it
Speech.
goes. And he was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know why you would. Well, yeah, you find a new story. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Not
Love your
find a
dad
new
giving
story.
you speech comedy advice. That's great.
Oh, he was like adamant. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited to hear it either way.
Hey,
All right.
I'll send it to you.
Thanks for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
That was a great conversation.
That
was
was
great.
fun.
Thank you guys so much.
Deep. What's up, guys? If you like the episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We are building this thing from the ground up, so we need your help, and hopefully we can make this really big one day. Love you.